Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, thank you for joining us this morning for Universal Dimensions of Leadership. And of course, we just aired yesterday's recording of, it's a secondary recording. My battery died on my original mic, so it was a little lost quality of the sound, but mashallah, the substance was there. So alhamdulillah, inshallah, we aired that, which was basically like the end of the parenting side, dealing with, autoerotic, heterosexual commitment, parenting, and the like, and inside of the issue of imprinting, modeling, socializing. So we kind of rounded that out. So inshallah, next week will probably be pretty much the termination of the family side of it. There's a whole universe of information on the whole subject, but we're actually seeking to get through FIRSP: family, intellect, religion, self, property. It won't necessarily be in that order, but it's a schema to follow. So I thank you for taking this journey with us. I have to go back myself now and look and see if, because this was like part 17 or 18, depending on what you're counting. And that's just the Friday portion. So you double that, and that's how many segments have been devoted to that. And I'm frankly, right now, I'm just wondering, was that just on the parenting part without the other elements of family? But can't cover it all. We just make a contribution and then move on. As always, on this morning, the Saturday following, we always invite your input, your feedback. Basically, the program continues grounded in your comments and the information that you want to share, and questions that you ask that may provide a foundation for the entire hour, inshallah. So we look forward to that. So push one on your phone. Come on, don't be shy. It's okay. You have comments, you have inputs, you have questions. Come on through. Push one. Come on through on Blog Talk. Those of you who are getting us on Facebook and YouTube, many of them come through. Meaning your comments come through, and of course I share them when I see them on our screen. But also, we look forward to comments from you as well. So we're going to start out with Imam Joel. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Brother Imam, and everybody in the class on the call. I appreciate the whole, as I was thinking about how I framed my question. Mm-hmm. I understand wholeheartedly that the whole project has been to answer the question, but it's still something that popped up in my mind, especially when near the end you talked about having things available to have those children in those age groups being able to be around others in their age groups. And I thought about, first quick thing I thought about was like, everybody's suffering from needing more families. Mm-hmm. With young children inside, not just the masjid, but in all the houses of worship now.
Yeah.
But I thought about, other than that, as in Al-Islam, how do we do a better job of promoting, and then this is, the political world, family values, the family structure, mm-hmm. the benefits of Al-Islam for the mm-hmm. family. Mm-hmm. I mean, and like I said again, I go back to the whole project is to answer that question, mm-hmm. but it's just something that popped up in mind. Yeah. That I think about often. How do we? Because I know when I came into the community and I had young children, and I know this was really a issue that I've talked to a lot of those that were doing the transition, where you're trying to learn the religion and you're raising children and you're going through your growth, and a lot of times what happened was the children that were in that while you're going through your growth didn't get the same growth because you're trying to figure it out yourself.
Yeah.
Now we may be a little bit different because we had, so now we may be looking at some of us looking at grandchildren, things of that nature, but at the same time we still need to have those young people with families in the masjid, and how do we get that? How do we push that without it being, so much of the restrictions and make people think, oh, you have to stop this, and you have to stop that, where, you let people grow naturally, which is the way Al-Islam is. I hope that you can understand.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, really what you're actually restating, you're restating the nature of the problem, the nature of the puzzle. It's a cyclical kind of enduring issue. It's sort of like trying to ride a bike. You're trying to learn how to ride a bike for the first time, right? And you training wheels are off, no training wheels. So you kind of push your foot on the ground a little bit till you can get both feet on the pedal if you got the motion, and then you try to get a couple of pumps in, but then you start losing your balance. So then now your foot got to go back on the ground again, or not to fall until foot on the ground, back on the pedal, foot on the ground, back on the pedal, until you get that rhythm where you can hold yourself up and do the back. That's the situation of our communities. And the foot on the ground, foot on the pedal is generational. It's generational, right? So it's like you're speaking about yourself. It's like I look at myself, whatever, as a part of the first resurrection, quote unquote. Then my early children, of course, Camila was the first one within it, but then outside, no, she wasn't. Well, yeah, she was the first one, obviously, but then my son, he was the second. They were in the first resurrection. Then here comes the transition, right? So now we have to transition out of that, and at the same time learn the new way, get clear on the other way, and the children are growing up in your household at the same time that this is going on, and plus you're making your own adjustments in terms of how liberal you're going to be about certain things and how conservative you're going to be about certain things, whether that be dress or forms of entertainment and different things like that. All those adjustments were being made for those who are moving from the first to the second. And so that's a challenge. Okay, so then come whole over here to those people who are becoming Muslims post first resurrection, i.e. becoming Muslim for the first time under Imam Muhammad, inside of communities that themselves, like that bicycle riding learning example that I'm trying to get. So you come into a community and the whole community is going through that kind of transition. So I'm talking about the Social Imam Muhammad, these massive reverts to Al-Islam. We have had some major adjustments, challenges, difficulties, etc. That's without even talking about the administrative fitness inside the communities and between communities and the like. But Allah is most gracious, most merciful. We are doing marvelous in light of that. Now, that being said, so it's a natural set of problems that continues to exist, and so we have to look with wisdom in the situation and mercy. It's really, really important to see the application of the verse where Allah says He embraces everything with knowledge and mercy. Everything with knowledge and mercy, and that's exactly what we have to do. We have to embrace our children with knowledge and mercy, our families, our husbands, our wives with knowledge and mercy, our community with knowledge and mercy. It's that we have to grant that we're not what we hope to be. And I guess I'm kind of waxing biblical right here. It's something like, I may not be what I hope to be, but I'm not what I used to be, right? So it's like we're somewhere in between, right? So how do we do it? We do the best that we can, and we get people to subscribe to that part of the mission. So in practical, concrete terms, I say that there should be more inviting activities. I talked about in this particular khutbah, we talked about we need to have more opportunities for socialization for our children. Well, we do the same thing for families, because the mission is, you remember we talked about the moving from from smaller circles of identity to broader circles of oneness, and the idea of moving with knowledge to responsibility, from enmity to empathy to embrace in each circle. And so the first circle being yourself, then the next circle being family. There's a whole set of things that you have to do for yourself in order for you to become a stable individual. And then when you incorporate marriage and family into that, so now you have to do the work in order to evolve up to level up to family. And so that's what the individual still has to do. For now, he's a family. Okay, now you're part of a community. So all of those families that identify in that community, they have to take on the mutual responsibility and the commitment to get the knowledge, be responsible for it, and move from empathy to embrace as families, so that we as a family can become a community, right? So really, it's about, you have to do your work as an individual and whatever the formula dictates there. Do your work as a family and whatever dictates there. And then communities have to do the same thing. So really, what we have to do is laid out for us just by the natural design, and of course the wisdom that the Imam has given us. But by the natural design, we follow naturally on that. That's how we do it. We just have to have greater what is it? The centrifugal force is the force that throws out. Centripetal force is the force that draws in. So we need greater centripetal force to draw people into the project, draw people into the work, to draw people into this harmony and unity based on the hoped for future that we're trying to realize. We have to stop being lax about it. Stop thinking that, well, I just got to take care of my family. I just got to take care of myself. I just got to take care of my dean or whatever. No. The project is the whole. The project is the whole. So we always have to be looking beyond whatever level we're on. We have to be looking to the next level. If I'm an individual, I have to look to the next level. I got to get a family. If I'm a family, then I got to be looking to the next level. These families of whom I'm a part, we have to become community, right? That's the work. So if we're not doing that, what are we doing? Are you doing paying bills, paying taxes, and that's it, waiting to die, right? So the last thing that I'm mentioning, ma'am, and you can add whatever you like. That is, the Amish. I encourage everybody, look at whatever kind of basic video. I think Breaking the Silence was the one that I looked at. I spent a lot of time looking at that one because it's talking about people who are Amish and became non-Amish, and then but still having the values, but then they had what we would call their own fitna that split them into different little pieces, right? And that's a part of the, well, I gotta say, it's kind of the curse on Christianity, is being divided. So it continues to happen. But the idea is that they would have there's certain meals that is a part of the ritual life of the Amish, that you have community meals. That's period. You have the community meals, and you have a lecture that goes with it, and they have the community meals, and the women cook the meals, and it's a total unified kind of thing, and that's a part of what reinforces their cohesion and their sense of community, etc. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told us, eat together, for the blessing is in the company. Eat together, for the blessing is in the company. So when you have those family dinners, where you got a situation where the children can come, be together, play together, you eat together, and the germination of the kinds of ties and connections that we want to see, they come about in these kind of quote unquote informal but very deliberate situations. So we need to have more family dinners, and so that it gives the children who are parts of that family the opportunity to mingle with each other, see each other, meet, know each other, interconnect with each other. That's just one example of what we need to do. And then also the individuals that focus on another set of activities that are socially oriented, but are attractive mainly to the group that we're trying to bring together. So whatever, basketball nights or what, I don't care. It don't matter. Whatever, baseball, I don't care. Whatever they do, even the game nights, the video game nights, or what have you, with whatever the qualifications are, you can treat it the way you want. The point is, you have to create something that invites connection, invites unity, invites group behavior. Right? Got to do that.
Yes, sir. Hey, and you made me think about, when I first got down to Winston-Salem, at the Mass Street, we had family and friends one Sunday a month.
Yeah.
And you would bring, try to bring everybody, bring a guest. And I know that over the last 2+ years, we've been dealing with this pandemic. And I said to myself, well, we might not be able to do it once a month. Maybe we need to do it once a quarter just to try to get it back started.
Yeah. No, we're thinking in the same direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're thinking in the same direction.
Yeah. And also what I thought about when you mentioned knowledge and mercy, I thought about the ayah where Allah said that if you had not dealt with them, mercifully, they would go away.
Right.
And so for us in leadership, because basically, I know that we all in our own individual leadership as the individual creation, but we all. There are those of us that we all look at certain leadership positions that we're in, and we have to look at, well, you can't be hardline. Now,
right.
I've mentioned this in some interfaith circles that I've been in. You don't be hardline. You cannot change the doctrine.
Right.
You can't start saying, well, no, because that's not being pure. That's not letting it be pure.
Right.
But you can be merciful in understanding, and what you said, and an eye that popped up where that said it, is that you don't have to be hardline, because if that was the case, like we've always just mentioned it, everybody's mentioned it, then Allah would have said, stop drinking today on the first day of Revelation.
Right.
And He didn't do that for many years.
Right.
So it's like people have to grow, people have to become comfortable,
right.
and people have to become self-motivated
right.
inside of and that's the reason why Rahman is a womb, because
right.
it's development. And the mercy, you develop inside the mercy.
Right.
So, thank you.
Allah, well, that's excellent.
I better get off the phone. I don't want nobody mad at me.
Oh no, ain't nobody mad at you. You got right now. There's only one on the other, Ismail, and he's all patient. So we got him on that. Somebody might need to check on Brother Mark, though. I ain't heard from Mark for a couple of days, so see what's going on. All right.
Okay. Thank you, buddy. Now.
All right, shukran. Is that Raleigh piece? Was that this weekend or what?
Which Raleigh? Which one?
The Assalam Center building fundraiser.
I think it's next weekend. Well, no, I think it's next weekend.
Oh, it's next weekend. Okay, inshallah.
I think it's next weekend. Yeah, I think it's next weekend.
All right, good deal. All right, man.
All right, brother.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. All right, Ismail. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Enjoyed that previous conversation. Y'all could have kept going. I would have been fine with that.
Yeah, I know.
Again, I think I told you last week, but again, thank Allah. Thank you for giving me these jewels while my children were still young.
Mm-hmm.
And you were saying, imagine having one of your child as one of your best friends at a young age. Like my daughter, she's 15 now. Me and my wife still marvel at how she would rather us be with her in whatever she does. Like she went to a football game last week, and she wanted me to come. She's with her friends. She's with her friends doing their thing, but she could always look up at those stands. She would look up 4 or 5 times to see where I am, knowing that I'm there, and that's her preference. I'm talking to my son. He's 24. But we were talking last week, and he was just saying, "Man, it seemed like it was easy for you." I said, "No, it wasn't easy." And I said, "I was blessed to have a lot of insight, hope, inshallah, insight." And even though he doesn't have any children now, I started breaking down the 7, 7, and 7 to him. And he said, "Oh," and he just started thinking back on things that we did together. So hopefully, when he has children, he already already be ahead of the game because he's already learning it now.
Allahu Akbar.
Now here comes Allahu Akbar. Here comes the hard question for me. With making places for our young people.
Mm-hmm.
I go to different places. Like it's a pizza place that I go to. There's a lot of young people there on the weekend, and it's a Muslim pizza parlor. It's not an African American, but we have a lot of young people that have pizza. They also have these hookahs.
Yeah.
And I looked that up, and a lot of our children, they African Americans do those hookah lounges too.
Yeah.
So my question is, how far is too far when you create an environment for them where they can, feel comfortable?
Yeah.
But then, it's still boundaries. And that's my question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. MashaAllah. Allahu Alam, most definitely, that is a part of the dilemma, right? Of it, on some levels, kind of catch-22 on some levels. However, whatever it is that we have, that is that we take responsibility for. I mean, when young people have the freedom, like whatever. When my teenagers were in the house with me, and even when they were still in the house, those who were in their 20s, then they had their freedom. They had their freedom to go and come, but they knew there's certain things it's just not gonna happen in this house. It's like it wasn't gonna happen in the house, and it's like, and I ain't gonna do a FBI, Family Bureau of Investigation, every time you come home or anything like that. But you know what I'm saying. But you already know these are the boundaries with me. I don't have to reestablish that. You already know that. So now that's just me. That's the way that we came up. And I think that the critical thing always for a parent, your own integrity has to be solid. I mean, your own integrity. Look, all of us have sins, quote unquote. All of us have shortcomings. All of us have things that we don't want people to find out. The husband and the wife, the mama and the daddy, etc., and the children also, as relates to the parents. There are things that the children do that they don't want the parents to find out. Okay, everybody got something that they don't want somebody to find out. Mashallah, that's life. That's reality. That's how it is. Ain't no sense in acting like it's different. But I say, as far as our individual integrity, the integrity of a father, the integrity of a mother, your own righteousness and your own prayer, etc., your Islamic life. Like if your Islamic life is fake, then it's like no sense in even trying to talk to to your son or daughter that's older than the 15 and the like. It's like, man, I know your stuff is fake. Your stuff is fake. So it's like you have zero credit with me, even if I act like that. Even if I act in respectful ways towards you, that it's not that deep. That is the depths of my respect for you is not that deep because you have not demonstrated a magnitude of integrity that warrants that from my nature, right? I don't have any other explanation for that aspect. I got another step to go, but for that aspect of if you don't have your integrity proper before your children and family, etc., then you've lost the scepter of power. You've lost the perspective of being able to have that power. So let's get away from that. So first thing you have yourself to be solid. The other thing is, and I'm going to go into this at another level. Not today, but I'm going to come into it at another level. But I'll just mention the principle of it in connection with this. Listen, there's some things that we have to let our children, meaning we don't send them out to it. We don't invite them to it. We don't have to send them out to it. We don't have to invite them to it. The world is out there, and if they leave our house, they're going out into the world. We don't, and the invitation to those things, and we're not sending them to those things, but the temptation to those things are already out there. So if they leave the house, they're automatically coming into the realm and the world of different temptations, right? They're going to have to experience and be exposed to it's so tempting to say specific examples from my household, but I can't do that. But I believe in all families who have more than one child, at least more than one child, maybe even if three, right? You have all of them, and they're going to have, and especially depending on when they were born, the different atmosphere of the time, etc. What was the popular thing, and what was the thing that people were doing at that time. I think most of our families, I think Imam George just mentioned about gradualism as it relates to alcohol, for example. Yeah, our children have been exposed to alcohol. Our children have been exposed to cigarettes, especially if they went to public schools, and and all whatever, and parties, quote unquote, whether it be sponsored by the school or otherwise. So they've been exposed to alcohol, been exposed to drugs, been exposed to tobacco, been exposed to whatever, illicit sexuality, all that. That's out there. That's what's out there. So our children have been exposed to that, and a part of gaining the immunity, just again to talk about COVID, right? One of the ways that immunity is cultivated in the human body is by exposing them to a little bit of the disease. That's what these actual inoculations or whatever are. It's like, we got to give you a little bit of disease so you can be protected from it. Okay, well, in the same way, that also has to happen in the street, in our communities with our young people. And everybody's invited. I'm saying, stepping to the side. Everybody's invited to reply to what I'm saying. But I'm saying that a little bit of exposure to it can tell. Oh, I can use myself as example for this. Allahu Alam, man, and this is critical. We have to depend on Allah's protection for our children. We can't protect them. Because when they leave the house, we don't know where they go. We don't know who they're talking about. You don't know who they're with. So we have to depend on what we have put in them as values and what they have absorbed inside of themselves in terms of our parental presence in their physical absence from us. In psychology, they call it superego, right? Superego is the parental voice inside of the person, right? So if you had that integrity, if you made that impression, and when they go out there, they can still hear your voice. They can hear your voice at the party. They can hear your voice in the car. They can hear your voice because when situations come up, literally they say, man, my Bob wouldn't accept this at all, man. My mom, man, what she would fall out, whatever. So let's move away from that. The example. This is just an example. It's like, I think so, my little boys in the hood type story, mashallah. But there was one situation. There's a place, and it's actually not far from my house. I mean, it's like a block from my house. There's a little like public park, right? And it's like most of those parks, with the swings and slides and everything is for the kids, but you got the big boys, the big teenagers that take over sometime where it's not even useful, especially at night for the children. But the point is, there was a shooting gallery. Now, when I say shooting gallery, I mean it's like heroin, right? Shooting gallery. Again, I'm telling you, you could see my house from this particular area. So this was the gambling place. This was a place where we smoked, we drank, etc. And then you had those who were there, who would also, the heroin users who would shoot up, right? And so I'm there. I'm on the set, so I'm there. And so this is the first time. So it's like, this is I hope you understand. Yeah, this was well before I was Muslim. So I was, let's make it 19 round figures, because I became Muslim really at January 1972. So I was just like, I was 20 when I became Muslim. So this was before. So I had to be 19, round figures, 19. So these are older guys. These are guys, been quote unquote juvenile hall and did county time, these kind of cats. And so I'm there, just doing whatever, and whatever, hanging out. And so it's just so happened, this guy, they start shooting up, right? I mean, this is like it's a regular thing that they do, but it's my first time really on that set. And so I'm watching this guy go through all the mechanics of, heroin preparation and cooking it in the spoon and, you tying up and boo, 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 and then register. And then, and they didn't have any kind of hospital set up, not like regular hypodermics. These are like eyedroppers that they've been converted into needles for that. I hope I'm not grossing folks out, but I'm talking about exposure to stuff, right? So when they're exposed, when I saw what they were doing, I wouldn't look. If you're on the set, you can't get grossed out. You get, man, what the hell you doing, man? Oh man, that's messed up, man. No. Woo-saw, it's just you don't react to it. But inside myself, I would say, if it's one thing in life that I ain't ever gonna do, it's that right there, right? It's like, and I never had any kind of temptation for heroin or any kind of drugs by injection or what have you. So that exposure gave me immunity to it, right? And there's certain other things that our young people, with the benefit of what we have put into them, if we were able to expose them to our values in the best possible way, certainly up to the 10-year-old mark, and so we have a strong quote unquote super ego presence in them, and then recognizing the fact that they're going to have to be exposed to certain things in order to get immunized from certain things. I'm sure there are those who in our households, we have young people who say, I've never drank, I never smoked, and I never wanted to. But then we also have those in our household who have drank and who have smoked, and that different personality, different orientation. So in terms of being able to set those limits, it's like, as long as we are clear that our young people know what our values are, the 15 to 20 aspect of it, that 15 to 21-year-old aspect of it, it has to do with, look, you know what my rules are, you know what my standards are, you know what my values are. You learn that from 8 to 14. I know that because this is a life that I've lived in front of you. Now, for those who haven't, you just gotta work that out. I can only speak from well, my experience and from those who are setting up that standard in terms of how you fix what you broke by the way that you didn't behave in a certain way, and so therefore the child doesn't look at you or respond to you in the way that you would hope. I can't answer that right now. If I sat down the drawing board, I could spend more time with it, which I will. But the point is, at some point, we have to let our children, I use the term children every time I think about it, young people, don't have you have to let them have a certain measure of exposure. You have to depend on the conscience that you have helped to incorporate into them. And then, of course, it's in Allah's hands as well. And they have their own responsibility to make choices, because they are mukallaf. They have to make choices. Say this is a good choice, this is a bad choice, and they have to live with those consequences. And we have to understand it, and we have to know how to respond to them when they hurt themselves in a way that we know, going forward for their future is not really that good. But and it's like, okay, do we need to help pick them up off the floor after they got knocked down of a choice that they made? Well, then that's their mercy again. Then also there's knowledge that we have to use in doing that. So again, I'll end my comment on that in that way. Uh, uh, Rumspringer, Rumspringer, going back to the Amish. I do believe there's something for us in our situation to learn from the Amish, not wholesale in the say, okay, well, just do what the Amish do. No, I'm saying look into the spirit of the ritual aspects of it, and what are those? I'm talking about the social rituals, the family rituals, the community rituals, because they're Christians. You know, Amish is a name that comes from the person who started it. But they were Christians who wanted a different way of practicing Christianity. And so, like the other colonists, they came over here to America. And the point is that over the centuries, they said, okay, well, we got this kind of problem. Just like we're having a conversation now, they had that conversation. They took their own shorter, as we would call it, and they said, okay, look, this is the rule. What we're going to do, we're going to allow this, but we're not going to allow that. We're going to do this, but if you step over this line, then we're going to shun you. And all that whole shunning thing is a big part of what they're designed to do, and it also is very impactful for as far as their young people staying true to a very large percent of their young people stay true to being Amish, and not in any kind of angry, sullen kind of way. It's like, hey, I'm Amish, that's it, you know. But this is after they have this period of time called Rump Springer, like Rumpelstiltskin, Rump Springer. And if I think my definition is correct, I think it literally translates into running around, something on that order. There's a video, a documentary. It's called The Devil's Playground. That's what they call it. That's what it's called. The Devil's Playground. And it talks about this Rumspringa, because Rumspringa was a decision that was made by the Amish leadership that this would be a part of the way that we adjust for the most beneficial possible impact on our lives in this country, the way that it's designed. So just like when we say fastabiqul khairat, strive after what's best under the circumstances. Okay, well, they took shura and they debated and discussed among themselves, and they decided that, okay, this is how we're going to deal with our young people in this society as Amish. And that became institutionalized for the Amish in that way. And it has had, based on at least those documentaries, it has had a positive retention effect on their young people as Amish. And then when all the other things that they have in there are incorporated, then you have a machine that dynamically keeps moving the Amish community, we would say slash Ummah, forward, because this is our solution to that. That's the bicycle riding that the Amish has got going on. And so when you look at their business, when you look at their education, when you look at the way they deal with governance, and how they deal with, let's call it culture in that sense, it's like, okay, well, this works for us. So in that way, this is one of the ways that we have to do. We have to recognize that a certain amount of exposure is going to happen anyway. We have to have our responses for when what happens, response in a way that includes knowledge and mercy. I'll just round out my comment there. I know I said a lot. Ismail, you want to go ahead? You have something else you want to add? What?
No, I really appreciate that. And that he said a lot that would help me, help me and my community make a decision. We're blessed to, have an environment like that to make the best decision, inshallah. And one of the main things is that I don't want to run them away, but I also want them, have the ability to be shunned or shamed, because if you don't have any shame or shun, then it's not, like I say, it's not a lot of help possibly for you. So
right.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
All right. So any other comments, feedback? That's guess you can say I said a mouthful. But yesterday, for example, after Jummah, it was I mean, it's literally like just like a line of, and I don't think it's because sisters couldn't get to me, even though I am on the closer end of the brother's side, but I did move away after a time. But there were, a number of men with very, very personal issues, and thinking about the missed windows of opportunity for various reasons, that they really are concerned and interested about getting it better, getting back, getting it right, etc. So it is something that we have to give real dear and deep attention to, and there's an appetite for it. That's what I'm saying. I mean, there's readiness among the men. I think the women are literally like always there, but I think a greater insight and a greater, because I know that I mean, I'm one of those men that had to learn uh, at some point in time. Is, look, man, you're not supposed to be the main one that is whatever, passing out all the discipline or all that inside the house, right? There has to be this. Obviously, I've been married 50 years, so it's like this. I'm pointing back deep in history, and all my children are out of the house, living their life on their own, and for the others, mashallah, inna lillahi, inna ilayhi rajiun. The point is that I had to learn, there's the woman has her role, and it's beyond domesticity. It's the nurturing. It's the sometimes the mother keeps the children's secrets, right? So it's like, nah, don't tell your daddy, blah blah blah. Right? And hey, and sometimes that's necessary. Sometimes that works, etc. But then there's also times when, well, this is a man's job. Whatever. I'm not going to give a particular example. The point is, there's certain things that, okay, no, the man has to do that, or maybe mother has done the best she can to try to keep things within certain guidelines, within certain frames of moving in a certain direction, but then it gets out of bounds. I'm talking about a child, whether it be a girl or a boy, son or daughter. They get out of line, but mom has been trying to hold the line, keeping the guideline, but then they get out of bounds. They say, okay, well, I'm gonna have to let your father handle this. And that's that. And man's, got to be ready to be what he has to be. Sometimes you have to get, a little more yin than yang, if you understand what I'm saying. It's like, okay, well, that's what makes it work, and that's the nature of it. Where the term Ali Imran, right? The term Ali, it translates as the family. Ali Imran, the family of Imran. The Ali is actually, it means skill, professional abilities, talent, technical. It has to do with, it's not just a common sense, intuitive kind of action to have family. No, there's science, there's technology, there's skill, there's professionalism related to having family, right? That's why so often, many families wind up getting family therapy, family counseling, etc. And why? Because family is complex. Family is complex. Uh, there's a phrase that I heard that I tend to subscribe to. It. It's not an Islamic hadith or anything like that, but it has a ring of truth to it. It says, every family is sick in its own way. Every family is sick in its own way. So it's like, you have your family, I have my family. And if I can know everything that's going on in your family, or you can know everything that's going on in my family, I think we would all agree that there are some pathologies inside the family and each one is different, but everybody's got some. Everybody's got some. Every family's got some. And so I think that the important thing is for us not to feel that we are alone in the challenges that our family and its history. That so like right now, I'm living and you're living. You're living at the outer edge of your family life. Meaning that right now, here is the today from all of that past. Today is the day, the outer end of all that past. There's a future, inshallah, going forward. But right now, who we are and what we are right now is the accumulation, the cumulative effects of whatever happened in our lives before that, whether before we became parents and before we became family, fine. But then even if you start as, okay, or we started a family and all the things that have culminated in consequence of that, okay, this is who we are, this is what we are. And so all of us have all different degrees of challenge, and of course we live our own individual challenge because that's my life, and you live yours because that's your life. But as people of family, you have problems, I have problems. You have difficulties, I have difficulties. You have successes, I have successes. You have hopes, and you have things that you're proud about, and things that we're proud about. Now, if we keep incorporating, which is what we have to do, remember, we're on a mission from God. We are on a mission from God. When we say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah, first thing we're thinking about is like, I'm a Muslim now. Right? I'm a Muslim now. And okay, so that's you, right? Okay, now when that circle moves out, and I've already covered this in principle, but I got to bring it back. The idea is that, okay, I'm a Muslim now, and that's good. Okay, the mission continues. Yes, you're a Muslim. Okay, move on to the next plateau, move on to the next mission, move on to the next obligation. All right? Allah has ordered for you family. Family. All right. So now you're married, no children. Married, no children. Okay. Make the married part work. Okay. Then when children come, now you're married with children. So now the wisdom for that is what you have to do and what you have to apply. So wherever you are on the scale of the destiny for humanity from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have to be looking to the next task in order to build ummah, to achieve khalifa, etc. Because it's a mission. And look, so if you look to your left, you look to your right, family on the left, family on the right, whatever, and whatever, brother on the right, sister on the left, whatever, and this group of people that we're associated with don't seem to be working on the mission. You're trying to figure out what are you doing? What are we doing? It's like, that's the work. The work is creating a team with a focus to serve Allah's mission with the resources that we are. It's like, okay, you Muslims. You're Muslim, I'm Muslim. God's mission for us is still the same mission. What are we doing? What are we doing? Let's just ask ourselves, what are we doing? What are we doing? So if you can't identify in that group that identifies itself as a group, that there is a collective work inside and between or amongst us that's aimed at the next level, for the next level of Allah's plan for us, because we are team members of the universal body of Muslims in the world, all of whom are charged to build ummah, right? And everybody, as the Quran says, work ye in your places, right? So where are you? Okay, so wherever you are, you're supposed to be working for the mission of God to the level and the capacity that you have, and in addressing also the responsibilities that are present with you as they relate to the mission of Allah, that's what you're supposed to do. Otherwise, it's not about just waking up in the morning and going through your day and hoping that there's no problems and go back to sleep at night. No. So inshallah, I pray Allah that we get on that mission, get in that spirit, if you're not already so. So essentially, that's really all I have, and have a felt need to mention today. Those of you in the Clear Understanding Institute, we do have our bi-weekly private session tomorrow, 10:30. I can't tell you right now what the topic is. All you gotta do is go back and look at last week's topic. If you're not clear on it, I think I am clear on it. You can enter through either of the Future Roots leadership portal, or through the All Access portal. If I don't have that straight, that's it. Those of you who have been in the cycle, then of course you know how to get there. But if there's any of you who try to get through after of course subscribing as a member, and you have any challenges with that, make sure that you get to a clear understanding. I believe it's a clear understanding now. .net or .org, and you can get some clarification there. And if all else fails, text me and I'll get to you. But in any case, so those of you will see you tomorrow. Otherwise, God's peace be on you, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.